Girls and Women in Sports Day. Big East women's basketball takes the national stage, showcasing two teams looking to move up the standings. It's the Georgetown Hoyas and the Marquette Golden Eagles on FS1. It's a big day and a special day here of basketball on National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Kim Adams, Lisa Byington, Isis Young will join her in just a bit. Now, this is the second annual Female Forward Game sponsored by the Big East. It's a push that everyone you're going to see now tonight, the announcers, the production, technical, it's all, every single role is played by, it has a woman's role, and and a woman is in every single role that will bring you the broadcast here tonight. But we do have a basketball game here to talk about. We talk about Georgetown and Marquette, 5th and 7th in the standings, and pace and style of play is going to be important.
Yeah, this is a Georgetown team who's gotten it done with defense, allowing just 54 points per game. That's tops in the Big East, but taking on a Marquette team that is one of the best offenses in the conference, about 75 points per game, so a real clashing of styles
And
tonight.
the Hoyas have the best scoring defense, and that's where we bring in Isis Young.
Well, the key to that successful defense today, ladies, is their offense. Interim head coach Darnell Haney told us that in their loss to Seton Hall, they gave up an uncharacteristic 71 points per game, and he really felt like it was their lack of offensive execution that put them in tough positions defensively. So today, offensively, they're focused on good shot selection, getting a great shot up every time down the floor, and being excellent on that side of the basketball so they can set up that Georgetown defense.
Your lineups are sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. You talk about Ransom and Bennett and Cowan. They have started every game for the Georgetown Hoyas. Bembry has started 6 of the last 11. You look at Marquette, very solid at the guard position. Jordan King is in her 5th year. But Kim, you've got an eye on Kelsey Ransom of the Hoyas and Liza Carlin of Marquette.
Yeah, Liza Carlin, huge season, 9 20-plus point games this season, and Kelsey Ransom having a huge senior season, leading this Hoyas team in points, assists, and steals.
And the tip goes to the Georgetown Hoyas wearing their pink uniforms, also a Play for K game. Marquette comes in with a 17-5 overall record. The Georgetown Hoyas 15-7 coming into tonight. Both teams had really good starts to the season. Marquette 12-0 this year, and the Hoyas 9-1 on the start to the season. 5 seconds though. This is the pace you're talking about, Kim Adams. They will run the shot clock down, and it's Grace Ann Bennett with the first bucket. An example of pace, and the miss there from the transfer, Franny Hottinger.
Yeah, transition defense going to be huge for Georgetown there, as we saw them get back on defense.
The touch, Ariel Jenkins, who's getting another start, coming off a really good game against DePaul. 8 rebounds that she had, and her minutes were shot up in that last game. King off the mark, off the glass.
And that's going to be a fun matchup there. Jordan King versus Kelsey Ransom matched up together here in the last couple of possessions.
The triple try from Bennett. And it'll stay Georgetown basketball. Talk about these two teams coming in. One in 5th place, one in 7th place. You get a look at Megan Duffy. She has won 83% of the home games here at home. They're 11-1 this year for the Marquette Golden Eagles. In her 5th season as the Marquette head coach, man, time flies.
It really does. It seems like she was just here, and she's excited for tonight. Talked about how empowering it is for everyone involved.
And a turnover here for Georgetown. Darnell Haney taking over the interim head coach. Took over after the passing of Tasha Butts, a 2-year battle with breast cancer. And part of the reason why this game means so much for Georgetown, a Play for K game. They had a Tasha Tough game in their last game against DePaul, a home game on Sunday, one that they pulled out 44-42. A couple of free throws in the final few seconds was the difference in that one as Carlin drills the deep jumper.
And you see all of that getting set up by Jordan King, getting into the paint, forcing the defense to have to shift around. Liza Carlin, one you always have to keep an eye on.
5 here to shoot, taking a peek. Cowan gives the touch to Bembry. He decides to take it inside, left side, in and out.
It's a tough time finishing right now for the Hoyas. They are taking that shot clock down. That was a really good look from Bembry that just didn't drop.
An experienced Marquette squad, a couple of freshmen, 3 sophomores, 4 seniors, 1 grad student. And the turnover, it's off the hands. It's Jordan King who couldn't handle it. 3 turnovers here to open up for the Golden Eagles. They did not have a great start in their last game against Providence. Fell behind 20-2 in that game.
Couple of early turnovers for both teams here. Georgetown has been trying to hit that high-low, but has thrown it out of bounds a couple of times.
Oniger is the Lehigh transfer. Looks inside, the touch to Carlin. You see the mask. That's the second game that she's wearing that mask. Got a shot in the face, and she walks with it. So another turnover here for Marquette. Hit the face in that Creighton game a couple games ago. So this is game number 2. We know it's not easy to play with something like that. She's got to adjust a little bit.
Yeah, especially after you've been going all season without it. So we'll see how she settles into this when you see her fidgeting with it a little bit.
Everyone in the Big East has about 6 games left for the Big East tournament, but a couple of turnovers here for Georgetown and Marquette to open things up. A Wednesday night showdown with 3 other Big East women's games taking place here tonight, and a good finish. Grace Ann Bennett.
And that time they connect on the high-low. That was probably the toughest catch of what they've seen so far, with about 3 Golden Eagles collapsing on Grace Ann.
Carlin with the jumper, 2-point try. And the touch for Jenkins. Good move, it rims out. Bembry with an offensive rebound. It's one of the things that Georgetown does so good. Second chance point opportunity. Jenkins once again will put it back. How about 3 opportunities on that possession?
Yeah, you see early on, they are trying to get the ball inside to their bigs, and then this is a Marquette team that's always been known for rebounding, so to allow 2 second chances is unacceptable for Megan Duffy's group.
Georgetown opens up with a 6-2 advantage. You know, the starts was something of a concern for Megan Duffy. As we had talked about, a really slow start in the last game against Providence. King trying to open up the floodgates. Jordan King playing in her 5th year, the 3rd leading scorer here on this team. Kelsey Ransom. Hoya's looking for a big game for her, the leading scorer, and leads Georgetown really in almost all the categories here this year. 2 seconds here to shoot. Bembry, the triple try, off the mark.
We know Georgetown likes to slow things down, but now a couple of possessions they've forced to kind of heave it up as the shot clock expires.
And Carlin off 1 foot. Nicely done. Liza Carlin averages about 18 points per. Leading scorer and rebounder on this Marquette team.
Yeah, she's such a tough matchup because at 6'2", she has the skill and the ability to pull you out a little bit like we just saw.
Had a stretch of 3 games, UConn, Butler, Creighton, where she put up 20 points. And Georgetown will salt away the shot clock here. We will take a timeout, a 6-4 advantage here by Georgetown.
Liza Carlin, nice little step back jumper, trying to get her team fired up a little bit.
Some of the lady legends that you see across women's basketball, you know some of those names: Pat Summitt, Cheryl Miller, Diana Taurasi, just to name a few. C. Vivian Stringer, Dawn Staley, Tara Vanderveer, just to name a few. You know the names, you see the faces. Tara Vanderveer, of course, became the winningest coach in college basketball history, just passing Coach K for the most wins. 1,206 now career wins, and counting, by the way. So throughout the broadcast, we'll give a nod on this National Girls and Women in Sports Day, a nod to all different kinds of women in different kinds of roles who have made such a contribution and helping with steps with progress to women's basketball, women in sports. Lisa Byington, Kim Adams, Isis Young with you. Some substitutions made here for Marquette. Rose Nkumu, who leads the country in assisted turnover ratio, misses the jumper. Penetration pull-up from Ransom. They're looking for her to produce a little bit more offensively. And Marquette goes on offense. Isis Young, you were listening to the latest Golden Eagles huddle. What'd you hear?
Yeah, Coach Duffy wants to pick up the pace offensively for the Golden Eagles. She wants them to focus on boxing out and pushing and getting those rebounds. And then once they rebound, transitioning up the floor and getting quick early shots. We know that the slow pace favors the Hoyas, but they're looking to pick it up here.
Yeah, Georgetown is certainly winning that battle so far. They've taken essentially every possession down to the final buzzer. Attempted to get an earlier one up there, but secure the rebound. And here come the Golden Eagles looking for that pace.
Hesitation move, Mackenzie Hare. And a walking violation, so another turnover. Make it 3 here for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, Marquette has to start to adjust to this intense pressure that Georgetown is going to show them for the entire game. This is not going to go away, so they've been a little lackadaisical with the ball, some sloppy passes. You really have to sharpen things up against this tough Georgetown defense that we came on the air talking about.
Georgetown holds opponents to about 54 points per game. It mentions it's the top scoring defense, best in the Big East, 13th in the country. And Brianna Scott battling for the offensive boards. Georgetown will get about 12 of those per game, third best in the league. And again, you can see how much they pursue the offensive boards here tonight.
Yeah, and just another frustrating defensive possession for Marquette because they got Georgetown to take a 3. They only shoot 30% from deep, but then allow them to get another offensive rebound.
Yeah, already 3 of them here tonight. Jordan King looking to work off the screen, the double team coming, and Mackenzie Hare left her feet, didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and just another possession of kind of getting shell-shocked by the pressure. Just really a routine closeout from Georgetown, but they are going to be reacting. They're going to be closing out quickly. I think Mackenzie Hare thought she was going to have the open look, but Maya Bembry soaring over to contest that and forcing another Golden Eagles turnover.
You see Hare's numbers, about 15 points per game, but 47% three-point accuracy, one of the best in the country. Marquette forcing the turnover defensively. On the push, here comes King, surveying her options. Inside 2 minutes left to play in the quarter, coming over, stuffed by Bennett.
The ball pressure early from Kelsey Ransom, and then the help defense. Grace Ann Bennett stepping up.
And a walking violation.
It's not been the prettiest offensive start to this game for either team.
It's not going to win any basketball beauty contest, that's for sure. Carlin will check back in. Marquette going deep into its bench. Volker off the bench now. We've seen Skylar Forbes off the bench here for the Golden Eagles, looking for maybe any kind of combination or rotation that might work. 10 seconds left here on the shot clock. 6-4 advantage here for Georgetown. And Carlin is too strong. So a 3 for 13 start for Georgetown. 2 for 9 here for Marquette. And a foul on the shot. And it'll put Kelsey Ransom at the free throw line. A team captain, leads the team in almost all categories, as we had talked about. New Jersey native, but struggling in the last couple of games and looking to get back on track.
Her free throws, Lisa, actually have improved much more, up from 61% last season to 74% this season. An important part of her game as she leads this team in free throw attempts. Couldn't get the second one to go.
Jordan King with the first personal foul. And here will check back in and King will check out. And Kelsey Ransom will take a seat as well. Ransom, one of the rare four-year seniors at the same school, a passion for Georgetown. Grace Ann Bennett, 5 years at Georgetown. It's rare to see one player, let alone two, who have played that much basketball at the same school in this kind of era, the transfer era.
Yeah, we do have Jordan King on the other side as well. Rose and Kumu. So both of these coaches have created a culture, a program where players are wanting to stick around.
Alex Cowan. Back to Scott, who will take it right side, leaves it short. And Brianna Scott was kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time with her heels just touching the baseline. There'll be another turnover here for Georgetown.
And let's see if Marquette could close out with a bucket. Reminder, this team averages 75 a game, stuck on 4 right now.
7 turnovers here for the Hoyas in the final few seconds here of the first quarter. Off the glass, not there for Hare. And that's when the first quarter will come to an end. Better things to come, I think, Kim Adams, here for both of these teams.
We can only hope. Less turnovers, more buckets, but a great evening regardless. National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We'll be back with more action.
Big East basketball is presented by Jeep. There's only one, downtown Milwaukee at the Al McGuire Center, and a Wednesday matchup between the Georgetown Hoyas coming in 15-7 overall against the Marquette Golden Eagles 17-5. Sunday on Fox, a big day. Possibly Caitlin Clark, I guess it's always big days when she plays, right? Looks to make history and set the all-time scoring record as she leads second-ranked Iowa against Nebraska Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Pacific, of course, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. You get to be the lucky one sidelined for possibly a record-setting day.
I will be there for that one as we look at these numbers. 66 points away from breaking that Kelsey Plum mark. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, but I saw Patrick Mahomes was hyping that game up. He is friends with Caitlin Clark, saying he doesn't know if he's going to get to see that one, but all eyes will be on that game Sunday.
Scott takes the pass and trying to muscle her way in, and she walked with it. You know, speaking of big scoring performances, Super Bowl Sunday, since Caitlin Clark plays in the Big Ten, I remember calling Rachel Banham, who scored 60 points on a Super Bowl Sunday against Northwestern many, many years ago. So there might be something super in store again, this time for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Carlin coming out of that timeout, in and out. Tough luck for all these shooters here tonight.
We got to loosen up the rims a little bit.
I was going to say, you know, in the break, Kim, you were supposed to take the lid off of both of these baskets. See if you did your job. And a turnover here for Marquette. So how do they slow things down? We know that they want to push at pace, but they're turning it over obviously more than what they would like.
Yeah, I think they have to adjust to this half-court pressure, and they have to adjust to how Georgetown is defending ball screens. They're sending two, they're pushing the ball handlers out. So if you're Marquette, you want to play off of that, because if two are on the ball handler, that means somebody's open. So you want to quickly pass out of that double team and keep that off-ball movement to find an open cutter.
Ransom with the kick out to Cowan. And a high post feed, and Marquette read it beautifully on the push. And Kumu Uh-oh, and it's bad when she's turning the ball over. I mentioned that she's, tops in the country in terms of an assist to turnover ratio.
Yeah, it's just a very uncharacteristic offensive look for Marquette right now. I mean, they are top 10 in the nation in assists, top 10 in the nation in three-point shooting percentage. They just looked a little bit shell-shocked right now.
No, they're 0 for 3 from 3. I mean, just about everything that could go wrong for these teams has gone wrong. Nowhere to go but up. Alex Cowan will take it out here for Georgetown. And a good look on that possession, but again, tough luck here for Jenkins. Let's bring in Isis Young. You were eavesdropping on the Georgetown huddle this time.
Listen, guys, Coach Darnell Haney is just full of those dad jokes, those dad lines. I'm going to give you one. He started the huddle saying, at Chick-fil-A, they sell chicken. At Georgetown, we do what? The rest of the team said, play defense. And then he said their goal was to get 8 stops in a row to start the second quarter. 8. I've been keeping track. They're at 4 already, Kim.
That is 8 is a tough task, but they are dialed in on that end. And the fact that they all knew what answer he wanted just shows what page they're on.
That's a tough 2 to get. Ariel Jenkins, her 3rd year at Georgetown. I mentioned her playing time has jumped up in the last game against DePaul. Started the game, played 24 minutes, tied a career high with 8 rebounds. Carlin with the kick out. And Kumu will drive, takes the contact, gets the bucket. A little push possibly that Marquette needs.
This was much needed for Marquette. They had been scoreless for about 7 minutes. So Rose and Kumu finally finds the bottom of the net for Marquette.
And she sinks the free throw for the 3-point play.
We'll see if this can fire Marquette a little bit up on this end of the floor as well. Try to be a bit more disruptive so that they can get out and play at that tempo they like.
Zeta Claude has checked in her first few minutes here in the first half, directing traffic. 7 seconds here to shoot for Georgetown. And the ball is tied up. Jordan King forcing that turnover. We got a jump ball coming. It'll be Marquette basketball.
And Georgetown really has an intent every single possession to feed it inside, and Marquette starting to adjust a little bit better in terms of how they want to defend that. We've seen Rose and Kumu fly in from the backside. Now we're seeing them double down a little bit. And this is a Georgetown team that you really want to force to beat you from the outside rather than on the interior.
Left all alone, an easy lay-in for Carlin.
And that's a good read and reaction to that hard double team that we've been talking about. Instead of waiting, Liza Carlin just slips the screen.
6 of the first 9 points here for Marquette. Entry pass to Jenkins, so she can't get it. On the push, and Kumu. Outlet pass, quick pass, and a couple of quick lay-ins for Carlin.
And we're finally seeing how the Golden Eagles like to play offense. They like to be quick. Outlet passes, middle of the floor. Now a couple of easy looks after an excruciating opening quarter for Megan Duffy's group.
Claude will pull up from mid-range. And Jordan King surveying some options. One of the best Big East 3-point shooters. Mackenzie Hare getting a good look at it. Mentioned that she shoots 47% coming into tonight. And that was Hare's first 3-point look. But they've got some easy looks in the last couple of possessions Marquette has.
Yeah, you see the slip of the screen here. Nice read from Liza Carlin, wide open, and then in transition, Mackenzie Hare getting the ball to the middle of the floor. But Marquette has started to get some more stops on the other end. They've cleaned up those offensive rebounds that Georgetown was getting early on. So that's allowed them to get out and play a little bit more free.
Alex Cowan at the free throw line. Since January 10th, Cowan's put together some pretty good numbers in the last 7 games, shooting about 38% from 3, averaging about 7 points per game, and has been really producing at the point guard spot. Transfer out of Wagner, first year at Georgetown. Victoria Rivera will check in here for Georgetown. Alex Cowan, you see, over 1,000 career points too.
Yeah, she's been a nice complement to Kelsey Ransom, just 2 quick guards that can beat you off the dribble.
Pump fake, not there, almost point blank range for Franny Hottinger. Cowan will reset here for Georgetown. Bembry turns and faces. Midway point of the second quarter. Rivera doesn't waste any time taking a shot. Georgetown 4 of 19 here from the field. And Carlin, a deep 2, and a foul there on the floor. We will take a timeout here from Marquette. Tied at 11's Wild in the second quarter. Saturday on Fox Primetime Hoops, 2 rivals collide as Indiana takes on the reigning Player of the Year, Zach Edey, and second-ranked Purdue. It all tips off Saturday at 8 Eastern on Fox Primetime Hoops. Kim Adams, Lisa Bynes, and Isis Young with you. Tied at 11. It's got to be lucky. Second quarter, 4:51 left to play. Not a ton of offense, but Liza Carlin has found a way to find the bucket in the second quarter in particular.
Yeah, Marquette's gotten her on the move a little bit more. She has 8 of their 11 points, a player who can create her own. Marquette really starting to figure out these hard double teams. They've gotten Liza Carlin to slip a few screens, and then she is tough to defend in transition because she can get up and down the floor. She's got size. So Liza Carlin, 8 of the 11 active on the glass as well, an area that Georgetown has really dominated early in this game. So Megan Duffy would love to get some other pieces going as well. Maybe Jordan King, Mackenzie Hare.
Well, you see the points and the turnover issues here for both of these teams. Georgetown thinking, well, you know, we can't produce. Good thing Marquette can as well. Marquette's thinking the same thing. You know, with all the struggles, at least your opponent is struggling as equally, and that's why it's so tight. Lisa Bynes and Kim Adams, Isis Young with you on this National Girls and Women in Sports Day matchup between the Hoyas and the Golden Eagles. Rivera commits her first personal, and it sends Hottinger to the free throw line. Last year, she had averaged some eye-popping numbers for Lehigh in her first season playing with Marquette, but Lehigh, her last season, 20 points per game and about 9.5 rebounds per game, and is the Patriot League Player of the Year last year.
Yeah, Megan Duffy said she's really adjusting to what it takes to win at this level. She said Franny told her this is the hardest I've ever worked in my life, but she's certainly getting more comfortable in terms of how she can impact this Marquette team at a higher level of play.
She just had to talk about not trying to keep her eye. I mentioned her numbers from last year. She's used to getting those eye-popping numbers. And Megan Duffy had lunch right with her player and told her just don't be focused on trying to achieve one number. Different kind of league, different kind of division, different kind of basketball here in the Big East. As King will lean in, but is called for the offensive foul. And Jordan King now has 2 personals.
Yeah, really nice take from Alex Cowan just knowing personnel, knowing Jordan King is a downhill driver, setting herself up in transition, and that's what Darnell Haney said was important. 1, stopping the ball handler. 2, locating shooters in transition. And Cowan able to draw one on Jordan King, and a big second foul for the point guard.
And 2 starters here from Marquette with a couple of personal fouls. You got King with 2 and Kumo also with 2. That's your starting point guard and your starting shooting guard.
Yeah, especially a game where Marquette has struggled against this pressure at times. So a lot of onus now going on players coming in off the bench.
We got a foul away from the basketball. A little push off. It looks like it's going to be on Rivera again, her second. Coming up with the Jeep halftime report, we will chat with Commissioner Val Ackerman. Look at the first half stats and analysis. Val Ackerman in the house, who will talk to Isis Young.
I can give a sneak preview that analysis for the second half would be to score more points for both teams.
There you go. My dogs, Chance and Max, could probably come up with the same thing. I think everybody would like to see that. People here at the Al McGuire Center and people watching here on FS1. Short that time for Mackenzie Hare, and a dive and a jump ball. It'll be Georgetown basketball. A conversation with Val Ackerman. She'll talk about the second straight year of having a female forward game. As we talked about, everyone you see and some of the people you don't see in every single role tonight put on this telecast together are women, from the announcers to production to technical, you name it. And proud to showcase some of the best in the business here tonight. Grace-Ann Bennett turns and faces. That's a matchup to watch, right? Draws the foul against Carlin. That is her first.
And Liza Carlin just has to be a little bit smarter there. She has great position on Grace-Ann Bennett. Grace-Ann Bennett really has nowhere to go, and then Liza Carlin just drops that hand down to make it an easy call for the official. Just a slight drop of that hand instead of staying vertical.
And Bennett makes good on the free throw. I asked her about the reason, she's been through multiple coaches. Playing 5 years at Georgetown. She said, I could have gone into the transfer portal and played for a school that I felt like could have some success, but I also looked at who we were coming back. I looked at the team culture, and I just believed in this team. I believed in this school. I felt like we could have some success in my final year.
Yeah, she said the main thing she wanted was to win, and anytime we've spoken with Grace-Ann Bennett over the last 5 years, she just beams with pride about Georgetown University. She's done a ton there off of the court as well. Such an impressive young woman.
What did she say her major was? Or she's getting a master's degree, sports industry management. Did I get that right?
I believe that was it. We are going to probably see Grace-Ann Bennett, maybe like WNBA commissioner one day. Wouldn't be surprising.
Volker, a good strong take. Lee Volker with her first 2, the transfer out of Duke. Played 39 games in a couple of years there.
And in a game like this, little things like that are going to make a big difference. And that was one of the first offensive rebounds we've seen from Marquette.
Bembry stops in the paint. Marquette has relied heavily on some of its starters for production. And to your point, Kim, all the more important for some of these reserves here to step up. Volker again. The last basket for the Golden Eagles, and a 4-point edge, and falling off balance. No call. They're going to let him play on a little bit. Hare was looking for a call. Jab step that's just inside the three-point line, and the rebound to Forbes, who clears.
And again, those are the defensive possession that Marquette wants. Push Georgetown out. stop letting them get the ball inside easily. Try to get them to knock down from the outside.
That's a long 2 in the attempt for Volker, who is looking for her shot. Averages about 15 minutes per game, and the take on the transition is not there. But again, pursuing the glass is Jenkins, but it's off Jenkins' last. It'll be Marquette basketball with about 94 seconds left to play. Jenkins for the season, maybe earning herself a little bit more playing time. We have asked Darnell Haney about the rotation that he's had, especially at the 4 and 5 position in his starting lineup. He's just kind of looking for consistency. Sometimes he'll play 4 guards. Sometimes he'll play a couple of bigs here this year.
Yeah, this is a pretty big lineup with Brianna Scott in, Maya Bembry more of a post player, so really going with 3 forwards here.
And an offensive foul call. They got a moving screen on Hottinger. That's her first. Try is not there, too strong. Modesty McConnell getting some time here for Georgetown. And they were looking to feed Skylar Forbes on the post. And the first personal against Scott.
Georgetown continues to defend Mackenzie Hare really well. We talked about her being one of the best 3-point shooters. She is still scoreless as they've really forced her to have to give it up.
Forbes had a period from about January 9th to January 23rd. She started about 4 games, played about 25 minutes per game. Tonight coming off the bench.
Yeah, I see a lot of potential from Skylar Forbes. She's got great size, athleticism. Megan Duffy just, realizes she's still a freshman, going to make some mistakes at times, but a lot to like about Skylar Forbes.
Stepping in the passing lane, Hottinger forcing the turnover, spin move from behind, but the foul's called on Jenkins. Her second.
Marquette trying to generate some more offense from their defense. Franny Hottinger getting in the passing lane, taking it all the way, and it was a nice block up top from Ariel Jenkins, but did have a little bit of contact on the lower body.
A 20-12 advantage. Marquette has found a little more scoring here in the second quarter. Spin move, not there for Ransom, but she draws the foul.
Yeah, Darnell Haney putting his playmaker back in the game for what could be their final offensive possession, and Kelsey Ransom just simply breaking down the defense. Something that she has done all season long, has hit some big time shots to win games, and she gets herself to the line.
(21-13), or 20-14. After the free throw and some pressure coming, full court pressure here for Georgetown. And looking inside to Hottinger. And a slew of pink Georgetown jerseys just all over her in the post.
Yeah, the defense has just been incredible. You see Kelsey Ransom just completely shutting down Mackenzie Hare, giving her no space, nowhere to go. And then they're really good at those reads, at the rotations. Brianna Scott there, ready on the backside help. And they'll get a chance at a couple more points here.
Good concentration by Scott, but the rim is unkind here in Milwaukee. Got about almost a dozen screaming junior hoopers right behind us. I know Scott can hear at the free throw line.
Screaming would be an understatement. It is high-pitched.
Final few seconds, Hare lets it fly. Halftime is here in Milwaukee, and a 20-14 advantage here for Marquette over Georgetown.
And it has certainly been a grinded out opening 20 minutes. Neither team really able to get their offense going. A little bit more surprising on Marquette's side, as Georgetown is a defensive team, as we look at lots of turnovers in that opening 20 minutes.
We turn it over to Isis Young.
Steffi, a low-scoring affair there in that first one. What does your team do offensively to put more points?
We got to get our starting group back on the floor. We got into a little bit of foul trouble. Georgetown really slows down the pace, and we just got to get stops, rebounds, and then get out and go in transition. I think we've become very stagnant, a little bit based on their style. So we got to recollect ourselves, get Jordan, Rose, Liza back in there, and I think we'll be okay.
Defensively, what's the adjustment on defending without fouling 3 of your starters with 2 fouls?
I thought we were great the first 15 minutes, not fouling and staying disciplined, and then all those ticky-tack ones at the end really hurt us. So I just think finishing plays, no cheap fouls, finish with the block out, and then keep it moving.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Now, Coach Duffy referencing the 3 starters with a couple of fouls here in this first half. We'll have a conversation with Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman when we come back. A 20-14 edge for Marquette over Georgetown. Both of these teams looking to get a push up the Big East standings as the Big East tournament looms near.
Welcome back to Milwaukee, where the Marquette Golden Eagles lead the Georgetown Hoyas 20-14 at the half. I have the pleasure of being joined by the Big East Commissioner, Val Ackerman. And Val, you're here in Milwaukee for National Girls, Women in Sports Day, but more importantly, the Female Forward Initiative, knowing that all of the crew, all of the talent are all women in the industry. What does it mean to you that the Big East is a part of this initiative with Fox?
Well, we're thrilled to be here and glad that Fox shares our commitment to increasing the role of women in the sports world, and especially the game of basketball. To have so many people involved here on the broadcast side, we've got people involved in the game operation, we've got female referees. It's great to see the rise of women in the business, and so this is our way of celebrating that.
Val, what can we do to ensure that we get more girls to participate in sport at a young age, and then finding opportunities for women to join the sports career after they're finished playing?
Yeah, well, I'm living proof of the value of sports. I was an athlete growing up, and it really made my life, and certainly I've kept with it with my current role. But I think Title IX has had a lot to do with creating opportunities, opening doors. In terms of getting more women working in the sports business, maybe they'll have the experience I did. I played sports, I loved it, I wanted to stay connected to the game of basketball especially. So I think if we just see more of that going on, I think the number of women who are representing different roles in the sports industry can only increase, and that's a good thing.
Val, thank you so much for all that you're doing for the Big East and pushing girls and women in sports forward. Second half is coming up here in the Al McGuire Center as the Golden Eagles lead the Hoyas 20-14 at the half. Stay with us.
There's only one. The Jeep Halftime Report, sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. 20-14 is your score in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Marquette over Georgetown. We joked that this wouldn't win any basketball beauty contest, so we're expecting for bigger and better things here in the second half. Kim Adams, Lisa Byington with you. Happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day, by the way. So what do they talk about in the locker room? How does it get better here in the second half?
Yeah, well, this sometimes can happen in conference play. It's not going to be the prettiest game, but you have to find ways to win. And certainly for Marquette, having their two best ball handlers back on the floor in Jordan King and Rose and Kumu should help with this. Marquette had 11 first half turnovers, just very uncharacteristic. Georgetown, 12 of their own. So cleaning up the turnovers is certainly going to be key for both teams. Grace Ann Bennett, a bright spot early for Georgetown as they look to get the high-low going. And Liza Carlin, who averages about 18 a game, really was the lone bright spot for them offensively. She was able to get some reads. They got her moving off ball a little bit, but Megan Duffy is certainly going to want to get Jordan King going. She's still scoreless, as well as Mackenzie Hare. So their second and third leading scorers both scoreless at the half.
Those are your Jeep highlights, sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Don't look too closely at these, right, Kim?
Yeah, we're just going to gloss over these numbers. We know they're going to be much better in the second half. Teams are going to turn the ball over less, get the ball moving a little bit more, and get those field goal percentages up higher.
It was a rough climb in the first half. Second half for better things here to come in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Mascot even says so. All right, welcome back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A cool, comfortable downtown night in Milwaukee for February. Start of the third quarter is just moments away. 20-14 is your score. A contrast, it's supposed to be between offense and defense. One of the best offenses in the Big East with Marquette, and one of the best defenses in the Big East is Georgetown. So we're looking at the stat comparison sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Grace Ann Bennett. These are two of the veterans for these teams, and performing 5 points and 8 points is performing at their best here in the first half in a game like this.
Yeah, in an ugly one, you sometimes need to lean on your veteran players. That's what Megan Duffy said happened in their comeback win over Providence. But just looking at a couple of the stars in this game to get going, Kelsey Ransom, just 3 points on the Georgetown side. And then we talked about Jordan and Mackenzie Hare being scoreless for Marquette.
Well, Isis Young, we heard Darnell Haney in your report in the huddle give kind of a neat analogy. What was he talking about at halftime with his team?
Well, Kim, continuing with Kelsey Ransom, they honestly just need to get her in more actions. He said they have to be intentional about getting her the ball, especially in one-on-one situations where she can get downhill. And then in terms of them scoring overall, making layups. He felt his team got a little frustrated there in that second quarter, just not finishing layups in the paint. They got to finish inside, and then defensively, he was happy with how they guarded Jordan King in the first half, limiting her. And, of course, she spent a lot of time on the bench with those 2 fouls, guys.
Yeah, she did, and part of one of 3 starters right now who have 2 personal fouls. And Kumu is another. Jordan King we talked about, and Hottinger is the other. So 3 of those players here from Marquette. Got to be careful here at the start of the third. First touch to Carlin.
And you see Kelsey Ransom is just all over Jordan King, one of the best on-ball defenders in the conference. Going to really make her work for her points, but King able to get it over to Carlin, who continues to shine for Marquette.
Didn't we promise you that the offense was going to kick in?
I love that the women are giving us what we wanted.
First possession, first shot, Carlin drains it. Leading scorer and rebounder on Marquette's team here this year. Driving left side, Ransom can't get it. And on the push, and Kumu looking for it. It's a tough shooting night, though, for Mackenzie Hare, which is rare. We don't really see a lot of these tough shooting nights for her this year.
Yeah, but again, it's just been well defended by Georgetown. I think they've been physical with her, making it hard to even get touches. And that time, Alex Cowan was right on top of her in transition.
Hare is 0 for 4 from three-point territory. Jordan King gets going here on the baseline.
Nice execution on the out-of-bounds play. Jordan King just curling around a screen, one of the few openings she's seen in this game.
Fifth-year player, Megan Duffy said Jordan King, even her leadership has gone up a level this year. She knows it's her final season. Off the glass for 2, Cowan. Boy, we're rolling here for both of these teams.
We are flooded with offense right now. It was funny, I was looking at Georgetown. They were like going through their pregame warm-ups again at the half, almost like they were trying to restart another game.
And you know what? I love that. I love the fact that you just, you got to hit the reset button sometimes. And both of these teams trying to do that here at the half. Pump fake, gives it back up to Carlin, and she drills the other baseline jumper. So they have scored on 3 of their first 4 possessions out of the gates.
And Georgetown needs to tighten up the assignments on Liza Carlin. She can hit that 18-footer automatically. Now she's gotten 2 wide open here to start the second half.
And Ransom trying the foul, but Nkumu comes up hobbling a little bit after that play. But go back to the Marquette success here on offense. What's happening?
And that was just a solid ball screen by Liza Carlin. Jordan King coming right off of it. Alex Cowan on the other end, just a tough drive. And then Carlin has just been left open a couple times, but a big note here for Marquette as Rose Nkumu has to go to the bench with another foul.
Too strong for Pembry, and here comes King. The ball over to Carlin, who does a great job in keeping the possession here for Marquette. A cutting Hottinger who draws the foul, and another one against Jenkins, her 3rd personal. She had gotten into foul trouble in the last game against DePaul, really early in the 3rd quarter, much like this situation here. Picked up 3 personal fouls in the last game against DePaul, had to sit.
But a positive for Darnell Haney. They are deep at the center spot as Brianna Scott comes right in, almost like a 6th starter at 6'4".
Franny Hottinger, we talked about the numbers that she put up, a grad student, decided to play at Marquette. Marquette is in the conversation definitely for an NCAA tournament team. Under the Big East was what they recorded 5 teams in the NCAA tournament last year. UConn, Nova advancing to the Sweet 16. And Marquette lost in the first round last season, but wants to get back there again this year.
Yeah, Marquette was a team in the top 25 a couple weeks ago, and then they've stumbled a bit with some Big East losses, but trying to sharpen things up a little bit here as they get ready for the Big East tournament and then beyond that.
Sit at 5th place in the Big East right now. They're receiving votes. Marquette is 3rd in the net ranking. The analytics now on the men's and the women's sides, we're used to seeing that now. That helps determine if a team is an NCAA tournament team. Another jump ball. It'll be Marquette basketball.
Marquette's defensive intensity has picked up a little bit here too. Georgetown gonna have to be careful with the ball. Marquette looking a little bit like we've seen Georgetown, just swarming the ball, double teams.
King brings it across to Volker, who's off the bench. Volker taking the place of Nkumu, we're told has actually left the bench area. Mentioned on one of the defensive plays, she came up hobbling just a little bit. That's the Marquette starting point guard, Rose Nkumu. We'll keep you updated on that story as we get the information. Cowan high off the glass, too strong. Carlin, another rebound for Carlin. 7 rebounds, 12 points for Carlin. As King looks for it, pump fake, draws the foul against Ransom. Her 2nd.
Kelsey Ransom wondering where exactly the foul was at Rose Nkumu. Looks like she is back on the bench.
This is the defensive play where she got tied up and injured a little bit. You could see her coming up hobbling. That was a few possessions ago to start on the 3rd quarter, but obviously a good sign that she's now returned to the bench. King sinks the first. Jordan King. You know, Megan Duffy has talked about having a little bit of the 5th-year attitude, right? Where you know everything is your last.
Yeah, and I think we've certainly seen her come out of halftime with a little bit more fire in terms of getting her shot as we look back at Rose Nkumu. Just being getting over to the bench, still on the bench.
Georgetown took a peek at Scott trying to post up into the corner. Rivera is short. And oh, Ransom goes down hard. And the foul to Volker.
Kelsey Ransom, one of the toughest there is in this conference. This was a hard fall here, just kind of a funky play. Oof. Took a hard fall, but she gave the thumbs up. She's staying in, saying I'm good.
Scott takes a peek inside that time. She was taking a look at Bennett. Setting the screen now for Ransom, who pulls up. She's short. Ransom still with the 3 points and a foul on the floor. The loose ball attempt. And the second personal, I believe, on Volker. Claire Cavas is checking in for Marquette. Megan Duffy trying to find some answers with these rotations, and her bench, her starting point guard, still sitting on the bench. Rivera gets an open look. She's been hunting those down and not hesitating since she was inserted in the first half.
And that would certainly help open things up for Georgetown as Marquette has strengthened up their defense on the interior.
King can't get it, and an opportunity now for Georgetown to cut into this advantage. Ransom brings it across. In and out move there for Ransom. Tries to lay it up with her left hand. Not there. Bennett with an offensive rebound. And turns it over on the baseline. Nope, there's a foul committed.
Kelsey Ransom has had some nice moves. Has just been a little bit short in her finishes around the rim. Nice in and out move. She still looks a bit banged up from that hard fall. They're going to give her a breather.
So Georgetown will take it out from the baseline. It's Alex Cowan. Bennett with the pump fake. This matchup with Carlin has been fun to watch. Carlin trying to chase down the loose ball, and a dive there by Scott, but it'll be Marquette basketball.
Yeah, Georgetown was looking for that high-low again, but with Skylar Forbes at 6'3", defending inside, making it hard to get it inside, and then Liza Carlin with solid defense against Grace Ann Bennett.
King directing traffic. Kafis. And some contact between Scott and Skylar Forbes. And the foul against Brianna Scott, her second. King, one dribble pull-up. And now for Rivera. And another jump ball. We will take a timeout. 30-19. Inside 5 minutes left to play in the third.
I think I've really grown just as a woman, and I think that's something that Coach Duffy also preaches, is just being a powerful woman. Obviously, that means a lot of just advocating for yourself and also just having a confidence about yourself. And so I think that there's a lot of areas that I've grown off the court, and I think that has, in a way, translated to my leadership and obviously everything on the court.
Jordan King named just recently as a Cher Miller top 10 candidate at the top shooting forward in the country, and it's just interesting to hear how she has been impacted by playing sports.
Yeah, we've heard so many Marquette players talk about the impact Megan Duffy has had on them. We have Chloe Murata sitting just a couple seats away from us, a Marquette legend.
Job shadowing us, by the way.
Chloe has spoken so highly of her former teammate Jordan, her coach Megan Duffy, and really any conversation with Megan Duffy, she's telling us how she's empowering her women, the Powerful Women Club, as we heard Jordan mention in that clip.
Really is passing the baton, opening the door. and giving opportunities. Lisa Byington, Kim Adams, Isis Young with you, and an offensive foul call. We head back the other way as Bennett's the guilty party, her second. Let's check in with Isis Young.
Well, on the court right now for the Hoyas is a small lineup for them. Kelsey Ransom right now is the 4, and they're playing with 4 guards, 1 in. The reason being, they want to space the floor so they can attack downhill. Coach Haney feels like if they can attack downhill, they'll get better opportunities inside to score or to kick it out to their shooters on the outside. Carlin, though, doing really good work inside. Easy post move and 2 for her, Kim.
Yeah, we see Marquette counteract that a little bit. Liza Carlin with a little bit of size on Grace Ann Bennett, and they isolate her one-on-one in the post.
We told you Coach Haney would go maybe with 4-guard lineup, which is what we're seeing now. And he will go bigger. They do have that flexibility. He calls a timeout just to chat about it, like what he saw. So Georgetown will use one of its timeouts. And we will take a timeout as well. 4:04 left to play here in the third quarter. All right, 32-19 here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a Big East showdown on the women's side. Big East National Girls and Women in Sports Day is presented by Invesco QQQ. Kim Adams, Lisa Byington, Isis Young with you, and we look at some of the biggest storylines in the National Girls and Women in Sports Day and some of the role models that a lot of these little girls, probably even little boys, are looking up to. You see South Carolina, the only remaining undefeated team this year, 66 points away for Caitlin Clark to set the all-time scoring mark on the women's side. And talking about scoring, 51 for Juju Watkins recently.
Yeah, just a freshman, a phenom. I mean, we would, in a year where if Caitlin Clark weren't here, Juju Watkins would be a viable player of the year candidate. She might be second in line this season because of what Caitlin Clark continues to do. But Dawn Staley's group, the only undefeated team left, a season where a lot of people are beating each other, but her group has been the constant.
This is a day, National Girls and Women in Sports Day, where we pause to reflect about the progress that we've made and the doors that we've opened up. Rebound and putback is good for Hottinger. Much needed bucket for the Golden Eagles. I think about watching TV when I was growing up, Kim Adams, and I talk about the role models with Caitlin Clark and little girls and little boys, you know, watching what she's doing is remarkable and selling out even away arenas. It was hard when I was growing up to see women on TV. So a lot of my role models had to be male role models because that's all that was on television. Unless you got to the Final Four stage in women's basketball. You watched a lot of La Tech, some Tennessee, some Stanford.
Yeah, television exposure is a huge part to growing this game, showing the opportunities that are out there. It's why we're seeing the superstardom, the fandom, 10 million watching the national championship last season. I think that number's only going to be higher this year, Lisa.
Let's bring in Isis with a conversation.
I just wanted to add on to what you said, Lisa, there about the visibility, right? And just not being able to see those female role models. And when we talked to Coach Haney earlier today, he gave us perspective on being a girl dad. He said, I've got 2 daughters, and I don't see enough young girls saying or knowing they can do this. And he said the importance of today, a National Girls and Women in Sports Day, is so that they can see that they have role models on the court, in life, in their careers. And I just thought it was so profound that he gave that perspective of being a girl dad and just highlighting visibility, and that representation matters all across the board, Lisa.
Representation matters, and gender allies also matter. It's not just a story about women and girls, it's a story about the men who support women and girls and open up opportunities, allow them to keep opportunities. Megan Duffy playing for one of the greatest coaches who just happens to be a woman, Muffet McGraw, who's, by the way, has got a statue on Notre Dame's campus, so she was learning from one of the best and one of the leaders in the business. And I love the way that the Big East has put together these 2 teams. And in the second year has put together a female forward game. Not as a marketing gimmick, but as an opportunity to recognize the great women in all the different kinds of positions, from on air to behind the scenes and production and technical, you name it, an all-female crew for the second year in a row as we pause and reflect at the progress that we've made on National Girls and Women in Sports Day today.
Yeah, it is such an incredible evening for us. I said it earlier, we see more and more women on television across sports, you being an incredible example as an NBA play-by-play. As we're taking a look at our crew, there's Karina, who we learned today is the only female camera operator for Fox Sports. You will see her on the NFL on Fox, but we're hoping there's many more women that will be joining her in roles like that.
Everyone giving a little wave. Karina, Stephanie, Emily, Leslie on camera here tonight. We have Kelsey Ransom at the free throw line. Kim committing her third personal. Back into the hands here of Georgetown. It's Ham, the freshman, getting some playing time, her first minutes. The only freshman on the team for the Hoyas. Leaning in, it's Bennett who gives it up. Scott for three, rings it up. Brianna Scott, her 13th three-point make of the season.
And a really nice read and kick out from Grayson Bennett, who recognized the double team in the post.
Shot clock violation. Brianna Scott, a junior now, coming off the bench, hitting a big one for Georgetown.
Yeah, we heard Isis report that Darnell Haney looking to get things spaced out. He was looking to do it with his four-guard lineup, but actually one of the centers in Brianna Scott showing some range.
I got to say that her mom, Christy Winters Scott, who works for Fox and Big Ten Network, probably cheering her daughter on that shot.
We already know. It's probably already been tweeted by Christy.
It probably
Christy
has.
is such a great fan of Brianna and all her kids.
Turns and faces, good soft touch by Carlin. I'll tell you, it seems like she's getting kind of comfy cozy in that mask here in game number 2.
Yeah, she's warming up to it, and as her teammates have struggled a little bit tonight to get the offense going, she has been the constant, the steady for them, especially on the interior.
Plus 14 advantage here from Marquette. Off the glass. Wow, a tough two to get. Mayla Ham, I mentioned, the only freshman on the team. Won't always play, but in her 13th game here this year. And she got some playing time in the last game against DePaul. Catch and shoot opportunity, but a foul committed against Bennett. That's her third.
And Rosen Kumu back in the game, and you see her passing abilities, getting things going. 4 players touch the ball. Franny Hottinger, little high-low action, nice feed into Liza Carlin, and they overloaded on one side so that Carlin has a nice seal on the catch.
Carlin doing a lot of the heavy lifting. You see her numbers here tonight. 16 points, 7 rebounds, maybe another double-double. She's got 5 already on the season. 18 double-doubles in her career. I remember when Carlin was a player that kind of played more of a reserve role for Marquette. Now has worked her way as the leading scorer and rebounder here on this team.
Yeah, Liza Carlin, even last season, she had a bit of a disruptive season. She was dealing with an injury that had her out for a couple weeks at a time. But this season, she has just hit her stride. Been one of the most improved players in the conference, I think, and is a surefire All Big East first-team caliber player.
Kefes will walk to the free throw line. She's got 26 total points on the season going into these free throw attempts. And she just coolly and calmly sinks them both.
Yeah, Claire Kefes, I mean, she's been around this program for a couple years. Her roles have been bigger in different seasons, and this season, when she's called, she's coming in with production.
41-26. Marquette will take this third quarter. They put up 21 points, 21 of their 41 coming in the third. And a 21-12 advantage this quarter over Georgetown. Do you like the looks that Georgetown has got here in the quarter?
I think they could still work it around a little bit more. I think they could give Kelsey Ransom some more breakdown abilities.
Three-point attempt, in and out for Carlin. And a rebound to Ransom, who's just still sitting on those 3 points. Scott tries to put it up, but not in time. And so we've got 10 more minutes left to play. We told you the third would be better. 41-26. 10 more minutes left to play between Marquette and Georgetown. Some positives to build on in the third for both of these teams. Coach knows it. The fourth, here we come. Start of the fourth quarter, 41-26. National Girls and Women in Sports Day, but also a play for K game for both of these teams. Why you see Georgetown wearing the pink uniforms, pink shoes, from Marquette with pink accents. Everyone in the crowd wearing some pink as well. Kay Yao, as we know, the Naismith Hall of Famer, 38 seasons, multiple years. Regular season champion 5 times in the ACC, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And, I'll say this, that the Kay Yao Foundation has done incredible things, raised over $8 million in money, for research and awareness in the fight against breast cancer. And it is a fight that obviously Georgetown Hoya is very, very close to. Darnell Haney has taken over for Tasha Butts, who had a 2-year battle with breast cancer. He was hired last May to be Butts' associate head coach as Carlin, out of that quarter timeout, knocks the jumper. Haney was hired to be the associate head coach. He had to take over in September when Tasha Butts stepped away to focus on her health and then passed away in October. It has been an emotional, to say the least, kind of roller coaster ride for these Georgetown Hoyas. And Scott is whistled for the foul. That's her 3rd personal. And you see the Tasha Tuff on the Georgetown Hoyas uniforms. It's actually even something that the Big East Conference as a whole has embraced. Her passing coming right around media day, and a really emotional time when that took place in New York.
Yeah, it was just a devastating situation. It was going to be her first head coaching position, but we spoke to Grace Ann Bennett today. She spoke so highly of the culture that Tasha was able to instill in them in just those couple of months, and how they all completely bought into it, and they've kept it alive with them throughout this season.
Megan Duffy even talking about in the spring meetings with the head coaches, she was talking to Tasha about this very game, the female forward game that the Big East has put on. Megan Duffy was a part of it last year when they took on Villanova. And she was saying, you know what, it would be a great thing for you and for Georgetown to take part. And that was in the spring. She said, I don't think any of us really even realized the battle and what Tasha was really going through at the time.
Yeah, Megan Duffy said that was the first thing on her mind for this game tonight was Tasha Butts and just honoring her.
Tennessee also wearing Nikki McCray, also lost her battle to breast cancer in a valiant battle, Nikki McCray, but Tennessee also wearing MM on their jerseys for Nikki McCray, and of course TB for Tasha Butts on their jerseys this year. And another turnover here for Marquette. Jada Claude who checks in. It's crazy looking at the three-point numbers here for both of these teams. Inside paint look, you were looking for Kelsey Ransom to come alive a little bit for the Hoyas.
Yeah, she's been well defended. She's had some tough takes right at the rim, but that time she takes it into a post-up.
Marquette yet still has not hit a three-point shot, which is remarkable. when you think that they're first in the Big East in terms of three-point field goal percentage. Offensive foul call on Ransom, that's her third. But in the previous offensive possession, she was able to do this.
Yeah, Kelsey Ransom, a dynamic, versatile guard. She's had trouble shooting from the outside, so she takes Rose and Kumu inside, uses her physicality to get one of her only field goals on the night so far.
But you and I had to look twice at this three-point stat here for Marquette going into this possession. 0 for 7 from 3.
Yeah, you consider they have one of the best individual shooters in Mackenzie Hare. She has not been able to get it going. Just 1 point for her tonight.
But Marquette as a team, first in the Big East in three-point field goal percentage, 8th in the country. They don't even shoot 0 for 7 in their sleep normally with their eyes closed.
And they haven't taken that many either. They usually make 7 a game. They've only taken 7 tonight. They really just haven't looked for it much.
Carlin pump fake, and she goes for it. More paint points for Marquette and Carlin, who's been the answer for the Golden Eagles. She's got another 21-point game.
Liza has certainly kept them afloat at times when things were a bit stagnant offensively. She's been somebody that they can dump it into to get them a bucket.
Ransom with the kick out, catch and shoot for Claude, misses everything. We were curious, when's the last time that Marquette hasn't hit a three-pointer? You have to go all the way back to February of 2022 when they were 0 for 2 in that game against Creighton. It has been a while.
I'm gonna guess it was Chloe Murata who took one of them.
Our job shadow here tonight.
I'm actually surprised it's that recent, February 2022, but I guess they haven't always been a three-point shooting team like we're seeing from them most of the time this season.
Bembry steps in the passing lane, decides to go all the way, high off the glass. That was all Maya Bembry on that possession.
We saw Georgetown get out and get some defense to offense like that early in the game, but not much of it here in the second half. Maya Bembry certainly with the athleticism to make a play like that.
She's been the most productive the last couple of games, 12 points in each. Even had a double-double in the last game against DePaul. 12 points, 10 rebounds. Ottinger going baseline, and the reverse falls for her.
Ottinger has been solid. She's shown her ability to score inside out, almost like Liza Carlin. That time just the 1 or 2 dribbles up and under.
32 points combined between Ottinger and Carlin. 32 of the 47 points here for Marquette. It'll stay here. So Bembry creating her own offense from defense here tonight.
Yeah, nice sequence. Athleticism from Maya Bembry transferring over from Seton Hall this season, taking it coast to coast. Another angle at it, just skying right over Rose and Kumu.
And an offensive foul. I think they got King. That'll be number 4 on Jordan King. Bembry tried a errant post entry. Here comes Marquette. And Kumu's entered back into this game for Marquette. Showed you early in the second half. She was hobbling just a little bit, so the starting point guard, Rose and Kumu, back in play.
Maya Bembry making another defensive play, has really read things well. Quick first step to get into passing lanes.
And Ottinger commits her third personal. 13 points off turnovers for Marquette. Kind of making some hay in that category. Dribble drive for Cowan. Scott has one of those. Now she's got a couple of those.
Smooth, and I think when Georgetown has struggled in this game offensively, they haven't had spacing that time, able to drive in, and Scott relocates.
She's got that high arcing shot as a perfect 2 for 2 from 3. And Scott coming down with the rebound. Brianna Scott hit a couple of free throws, ended up being the game winner in the last game against DePaul, and trying to make a difference again here tonight. Chipping away at this lead, Georgetown is against Marquette. Midway through the fourth quarter. And Kumu mentioned that she's back in this game. Quick crossover, 4 seconds left to shoot. And Kumu gives it up to Carlin, who's got to throw it up. And they were just seconds away from Hottinger getting a bucket. Took a little bit too long. We will take a timeout. 4:33 left to play in this one. Big East basketball is sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Beautiful look downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Kim Adams, Lisa Byington, Isis Young with you. Again, happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We've got a Women's Big East tournament to talk about. It's coming up next month. Coverage begins Saturday, March 9th, live from Mohegan Sun, again in Uncasville, Connecticut. Now the quarterfinals will air on FS2. All the others will be on FS1. And I believe, Kim Adams, you're going to be in attendance, right?
I will be there. Looking forward to it. It's been a really interesting year in the conference. UConn still undefeated. Creighton, as of late, has kind of positioned themselves as that clear number 2. Marquette almost taking them down a couple days ago in Creighton. They did beat them here in the first meeting, but after UConn and Creighton, it is a big jumble in the middle of that pack right now.
These two teams playing tonight are in that bunch of the middle. You know, Marquette comes into tonight in 5th place in the conference. Georgetown is in 7th place in the conference. And when you talk about the Big East tournament, seeding's important. Where you get some buys, you don't obviously have to play as many games. These two teams got some work to do to try to get a better seed before the Big East tournament is here.
Yeah, if you can lock in that top 5, you don't play on round 1. The bottom 6 teams have to play on that first day.
Quick handoff to Hare. Hare just 1 point, as you had mentioned, 0 for 6 from the field still. Hottinger working for it and draws the foul. And Hottinger will go to the free throw line. A place, by the way, I hope I don't jinx it, she's, dare I dare say, 8 for 8 from the free throw line.
And I think there's been some important factors in this game for Marquette. It's been a really tough night for Mackenzie Hare and Jordan King, just 5 points between the two, but Franny Hottinger and Liza Carlin have been really solid inside for Megan Duffy's group.
Let's see, the broadcaster's jinx doesn't exist. Perfect 9 for 9 after those 2 free throw attempts.
You're allowed to come back for more Marquette games.
Okay, good. 49-33, Marquette. We talk about, you know, drawing some fouls. 17 of 20 as a team from the free throw line tonight. Just about 3.5 left to play. Brianna Scott, her first miss from 3-point territory tonight. 2 for 2 before that shot. And King brings it across. And an offensive foul call against Scott.
Yeah, I think Brianna Scott just never really came to a full stop in setting that screen. I don't know if you need to call that at this point of the game, but...
And 5 personal fouls, so Scott is done with 3:13 left to play. Jenkins will check back in. Scott played about 18 minutes here tonight as King misses a lay-in. Cowan immediately giving Jenkins a touch. She immediately turns over that right shoulder for a tough 2.
Yeah, I think I heard Marquette yelling travel. I thought she did change up the pivot foot a little bit as well, but gets it to go.
2.5 left to play. Georgetown basketball. What are some of your biggest takeaways from a game like this? How does Georgetown get better from a night like this? Let's start there.
Yeah, well, I think they certainly have to find a little bit more rhythm offensively, and it's tough when you don't have too much firepower from the outside, because Marquette really started defending the interior on this one. So I think when you don't have that much from the outside, you really have to space things out to allow your bigs to have some isolations inside or to open up a driving lane. It's been a tough stretch offensively for Kelsey Ransom. They certainly have to get her back on track scoring-wise a little bit.
Loose ball. Marquette comes up with it. Here's Hare. And an offensive foul call against Honninger, and that's her 4th. Well, you look at what Coach Haney and Georgetown has coming up before the Big East tournament. Starts on March 9th through the 11th. I always kind of look at it with one eye open and one eye closed when you see the number 11 UConn coming up on the schedule.
Yeah, and the Providence rematch will be an interesting one, because Kelsey Ransom beat them up in Friartown on a buzzer beater. So Coach Erin Bath doing a great job in her first year. I'm sure she's looking at the tape from that one.
Georgetown has played in about 10 games that are, decided by 5 or fewer points. They're 6-4 in those 10 games, by the way. You mentioned that Providence win. And you look at Marquette and what the schedule is for Megan Duffy and company. We got a Villanova game, a showdown with the Villanova team that is just above Marquette in the standings. You can watch that one on Big Fox coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, this is an important final stretch for Marquette as they're looking to get back to the tournament, looking to raise their seeding a little bit after dropping out of the rankings earlier in the season.
Nice move by Honninger. We're proud to bring you, the second annual female forward game brought on by Commissioner Val Ackerman and the Big East. An all-female telecast, announcers behind the scenes, to pause and reflect on this National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We will continue to do the work of the job you're qualified and hired to do with our expertise. So it starts to be normal and look normal. So you're not always looking to your left and looking to your right, and you're the only female working on a crew, because that's the way it happens right now. So we made a ton of progress, but women in this business are still overlooked and undervalued and treated differently and evaluated harder and forced to perform 10 times better. So we will take this day and this game and this night, and thank you to the Big East for spearheading the Female Forward Initiative, because that's the direction that we move forward. And after tonight, all the wonderful women working this telecast are going to work in every single role on the broadcast, go back to our daily work, because that's where the battles and the progress is won.
Wonderfully said. Drop the mic, Lisa Byington. Again, we're thanking you for the work you're doing as a full-time play-by-play announcer in the NBA. We look at Val Ackerman, who is such a leader for women's sports. But as we said earlier, we're seeing more women on air, but the behind the scenes, I can count on one hand how many female producers I've had. Got to get more women in those behind the scenes positions as well.
Yeah, a lot of people hear our voices, see our faces, and they forget that there is way more important jobs that go into a broadcasting live television game. Behind the scenes, from graphics to tape replay to directing, and all the women working this game tonight, just my hat's off to them, because a lot of them had to travel from Los Angeles to the East Coast, several Midwest markets. And a lot of the women work in major college sports, in the NBA, in the NFL, in MLB, in the WNBA, to name a few. It is just time that there needs to be more in this business. Free throw short from Ott. Georgetown gets it back. Three-pointer for Rivera, and she sinks it from the corner. So some baby step moments here to build on the positives here for this Georgetown Hoya team that will drop to 15-8 overall. 5-7 in the Big East, and an important win for Marquette to try to get one of those top 4 seeds. That's what they're battling for. They improved to 18-5 and 7-5 in Big East play. Your final from Milwaukee tonight, 52-38.
Yeah, Marquette, I think, learned some things about their team, finding ways to win when things aren't always going as well as they could. 13th straight win for Marquette over Georgetown.
We appreciate you watching here on FS1. More women's basketball to be played as both of these teams look to finish out the Big East season in a strong manner. For our producer, Carol Langley, our director, Lindsay Plose, and the rest of our all-female FS1 crew here tonight, we thank you for watching. Happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We're all celebrating that and having a good time. 52-38, Marquette over Georgetown tonight.